Well, good afternoon. Today we're in Psalm 121, and I want you to catch something that sometimes it's easy to miss. But hold on for that for a second because I think you'll find it extremely interesting. Now, the Psalm in general is speaking about God's protection, and perhaps the writer or the psalmist are with others are traveling to Jerusalem to worship, and there's this great statement of faith and confidence in the journey because in ancient times, as it even is today, it can be a dangerous thing. And so Psalm 121, we're beginning in verse number 1, where the writer says, I will lift up my eyes unto the hills. And it's most likely, of course, Jerusalem. That's would be where they would journey to. And again, let me just stress, just to get a feel for what's going on. Sometimes it could be a very difficult journey and sometimes very perilous. And from whence comes my help? There's why I think he's referring to this statement of faith in this kind of difficult circumstances, knowing that there's robbers in the hill and there's just difficulty in itself in a journey. And so as they're contemplating the journey, there's this prayer and this great statement of faith that God will protect them. And in America, we just find difficulty with it because we have a mindset in our culture to be very self-sufficient and reluctant to depend on anybody else. And here it's so important for us to cultivate a mindset where we actually do trust in the Lord. Think about it for a moment when you go to work and or when you're going on some journey, or when you're dealing with some circumstance or whatever it might be, to pray to the Lord for his guidance and protection. In verse number 2, my help cometh from the Lord, which made the heaven and earth. Now, I wish we had some more time to think about this. But when you give this just some thought, when you pray to God and you recognize the fact that he made the heavens and the earth, what tremendous power he has, having sovereignty over the heavens and the earth, and thinking about praying to God like that when you look at your problems. Now, he will not suffer my foot to be moved. He will not, rather, he keepeth thee, will not slumber. God doesn't go to sleep. You know, in some lands, I think Japan might be one of them, where they have these little bells and you ring them to wake up their God. Well, God doesn't sleep. He's always on watch. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall not slumber nor sleep. If we had time, we could talk about poor watchmen. Watchmen, of course, were the ones who would stand on the walls of those cities and be on guard and alert the citizens if there be any danger. Well, God doesn't sleep. He's always on watch, and nothing gets past him. Now, notice this. That's an interesting thought, isn't it? When we really start to think about that the eyes of the Lord are over the righteous, and there's nothing that happens that he doesn't know. Now, verse number 5, the Lord is my keeper, that is, he's my guard. He's one who watches over me personally. The Lord is thy shade, and of course, in that part of the world, that Mideastern sun could be really dangerous, and you needed protection from it. But notice again, and the sun shall not smite thee day, nor the moon by night. Of course, the idea is that God will protect you in the day and in the night. And then in verse number 7, the Lord shall preserve thee from all evil, and he shall preserve thy soul. Again, you're seeing the emphasis upon going on this journey, and you could think about, wow, there's going to be perhaps some difficulties and some danger, and it could be perilous, and yet you go because you trust in the Lord. Now, in verse number 8, the Lord shall preserve thy coming and going out It'd be interesting to think about, we begin a prayer as we begin the day, as we go out to the job, and a prayer that we come home. A lot of things can happen in coming in and coming out. There can be traffic accidents, terrible wrecks, things just happen between those times. And what he's talking about is that he protects you in your coming and going out, in beginning and end. And if we had more time, we'd even start talking about how beginning a life and ending a life, how the Lord keeps watch over us. Now the Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming, and from that time forth, and even forevermore. Now here's what I want you to think about here in the psalm that's easy to miss. If you notice in the first two verses, the psalmist is praying personally, that is in the singular, and then from verses 3 through 8, there's someone answering him. In other words, there's a dialogue going on in the psalm. Now you have to wonder, don't you, why is there a dialogue? And I want to just suggest to you this idea for a moment. The purpose of a dialogue, as you talk with one another, as you talk with a brother who has faith and you have faith, it's like this. Here's the fellow saying, I'm going on the journey, and I trust in the Lord, and he's going to protect me. I have that kind of confidence. And the other fellow joins in, verse 3 and 8, and he says, yes, you're right. It's good to have confidence, and you can have confidence in the Lord. You see, I think sometimes we need to have that affirmation. We may trust in the Lord, and we may believe in the Lord, but sometimes we need that affirmation from some others. Boy, I got some good brethren where I preach, and some of those will tell me every Sunday, there's a fellow there, and I'll just mention his name, Tom. You can figure out the rest. I don't think there's been a day that's gone by in the last 15, 20 years that he hasn't said something good about the lesson or something good towards me. What an affirmation, and we all need it. Affirming, you see, we all need that affirmation. And you may be, I'm speaking in the second voice in this lesson today, and I'm saying you can trust in the Lord, you can have confidence in him, and I'm affirming that to you. And sometimes you need that to affirm to others. Yes, it's right to trust in the Lord. Yes, 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 you can trust the Lord. You can have confidence in the Lord. You can trust in his promises. You can trust in his word. Hey, how about that? In this psalm, there's affirmation, a dialogue. And boy, we need to get into those kind of dialogues more, don't we? See you tomorrow.